Everyone has this in their home, but it's also an engineering nightmare, and no one suspects the dangerous process behind its creation. Today, we decided to show you how this mysterious object is born. And get ready, because you have no idea the hell it goes through. First of all, forget the image of a clean bathroom. To understand this process, we have to start our journey right here, outside, in the dust of the storage yard. We are facing mountains of raw materials. At this stage, it's just geological chaos, clay and feldspar that are worthless. But the transformation process starts immediately with necessary violence. These steel jaws kick into action not just to break the stone, but to atomize it. The goal is precise, to get a powder finer than flour. Because if the grain is too big by just 2 microns at this stage, the entire structure will explode during the final firing. Now that we have this perfect mineral flour, we radically change states. We leave the roar of the crushers to enter the mixing hall, where chemistry takes over. The goal here is to make the material alive. We drown the powder in thousands of gallons of purified water to create what insiders call slip. Look at this texture. It's no longer rock. It's a technical liquid that looks exactly like pancake batter. If you find this transformation of matter satisfying to watch, smash that like button and subscribe right now to support this kind of documentary. But don't be fooled by its calm appearance. This mixture is a traitor. It is saturated with iron particles invisible to the naked eye. If we let them pass, they will rust the ceramic from the inside out once installed in your home. That is why this liquid curtain must pass through a ruthless magnetic field that rips out even the slightest metallic impurity. Without this magnetic purification, the entire batch is trash. With our ceramic blood now purified and ready, we leave the calm of the storage tanks to enter the true cathedral of this factory, the high-pressure casting hall. Here, the scale changes brutally. Forget the romantic image of the artisan spinning a pot by hand. We are facing an industrial armada stretching as far as the eye can see. Look at this alignment. These aren't just machines, they are dozens of hydraulic presses synchronized like an army, ready to work 24/7 without a break. But before injecting a single drop of matter, the trap must be set. The porous resin molds lock shut one after another with a sharp snap that echoes through the building. This lockdown isn't a formality, it's a vital necessity. Why such security? Because the pressure that follows is so violent it would shatter any traditional mold into 1,000 pieces. These steel jaws must maintain a perfect grip, capable of containing a force that could crush a car, just to freeze this complex shape in minutes. Now we face the moment of truth. Everything is locked, the trap is set. It is here, inside these molds, that the liquid magic must perform an impossible transformation. And this is where it gets critical. We don't wait for gravity to do the work. We inject the slip at a ferocious pressure of 175 psi. The pipes stiffen, the gauges hit the red zone. But watch out, the real feat is invisible. Inside the mold, a physical race against the clock begins. The porous walls drink the water from the mixture like a thirsty sponge, forcing the clay to harden instantly against the edges. It is precisely at this instant that everything is decided. If we leave the liquid 1 second too long, the wall becomes too thick and the piece will crack in the kiln. If we drain too soon, the structure collapses on itself like a house of cards. Watch what happens now. The machine violently opens the drainage valve. A powerful vortex sucks all the excess liquid back to the center, leaving only the perfect shell. It is this surgical time management that separates a piece of trash from a high-end toilet. Once the hydraulic storm has calmed, the presses finally release in a long pneumatic sigh. It is time for the reveal. The molds slowly part to unveil what the industry calls greenware. But this is where the danger changes its face. Do not trust this solid appearance. At this precise moment, the toilet is still terrifyingly fragile. It has the color of concrete, but the consistency of wet leather or melting chocolate. If you put a finger on it now, you leave a permanent mark and lose $50 of merchandise in a split second. That is why the human hand is strictly forbidden in this zone. Look at this yellow robotic arm. It is capable of lifting heavy loads, yet it handles this 90-pound piece with a disconcerting motherly gentleness. It extracts it, rotates it, and places it down without the slightest bump. Once safe, another automaton takes the opportunity to drill the seat holes while the material is still tender. It's a millimeter-perfect choreography where the slightest hesitation would break the piece before it's even dry.
How long is the slip in the mould?
The whole cycle time, it's 30 minutes and 20 seconds currently.
What happens if it's more or less than 30 minutes and 20 seconds?
If it's in the mould too long, then we can get a problem where they can collapse.
So it's a very delicate process. They need to be soft enough to mould, but solid enough to hold their shape.
That's correct, yeah.
Now that the shape is born, we might think the hard part is over. That is a fatal mistake. If we tried to apply the glaze on this wet piece now, everything would run off and the product would be ruined. Before going any further, we must extract the water, and fast. We leave the molding zone to enter the industrial drying tunnel. It's a corridor where hot air circulates constantly to force evaporation without cracking the clay. Look closely at the color change. It's subtle but vital. In a few hours, the toilet goes from this dark wet gray to a chalky white, what we call the bone dry stage. Once dry, another defect appears. The molds left scars, unsightly seam lines on the sides. We can't sell that. This is where a fascinating step of precision comes in: sponging. Robots scrub these seams with wet sponges until they completely disappear. The goal is simple: to create the perfect illusion that the toilet was sculpted from a single block without a single visible joint. We are now at the stage that will define the lifespan of your toilet. The piece is dry, perfectly smooth, but it is still porous like a sponge. If we stopped here, it would absorb water and become a bacteria nest in less than 24 hours. It needs its armor. And this is where 90% of people get it wrong. What you see being sprayed is absolutely not white paint. Simple paint would peel off in a week. This white mist is actually vitrified glass powder, a complex chemistry designed to become eternal. Look closely at the movement of this cloud. It doesn't just fall on the piece, it is literally sucked into it. This is electrostatic application. The enemy positively charges the particles, and the toilet acts like a giant magnet. The result is fascinatingly efficient. The powder wraps around obstacles to cover even invisible zones, like the inside of the trapway. It's absolute material economy, because every grain that misses the target is lost money. But be careful. At this stage, everything is just an illusion. This beautiful white layer is only holding on by static electricity. It's dust, nothing more. If you blow on it now, everything flies away and the product is dead. To turn this fragile powder into an indestructible surface, we have no choice. We must go through hell. Welcome to the belly of the beast. What you see here is not a simple oven. It is a tunnel of fire longer than a football field that never turns off. It is the point of no return. Once the cart is on these rails, no one can intervene. The temperature climbs gradually to reach a volcanic peak of 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit. It is precisely at this infernal heat that the miracle happens. Look at the surface. The fragile white powder literally melts to become liquid glass. It fuses with the clay to form a single vitrified material, hard as stone. But this is also where everything can go wrong. Under this extreme heat, the toilet shrinks by more than 10%. Imagine the colossal mechanical tension exerted on the structure. If the crushing in phase 1 wasn't perfect, this is where the piece cracks and explodes. At the exit, during cooling, the engineers strain their ears. They are waiting for a very specific sign of life. Listen closely to this sound. That little metallic crack, that subtle ping you hear. That is the song of the ceramic contracting without breaking. It is the sound of success. But surviving the fire isn't enough. Now that the material is cold and vitrified, every piece must face the Inquisition. There's no room for doubt here. Either it is perfect or it is destroyed. Look at this gesture. It seems brutal, but it is expert. An operator strikes the ceramic with a mallet. What he is looking for is not a crack visible to the naked eye. It is a fracture hidden deep in the structure. If the sound is clear and crystal-like, the structure is healthy. But if the sound is a dull thud, it's the immediate end. And this is where the economic reality hits hard. Unlike the raw clay at the beginning that we could recycle, a fired piece is final. A rejection here is a total loss. Money literally thrown at the window. Those who survive the hammer must then pass under an unforgiving grazing light. Inspectors hunt for the slightest pinhole, a micro bubble in the glaze no bigger than a pinhead. If you find one, the product is dead. In this industry, perfection is not a goal, it is the only viable option. But let's be honest, a perfect ceramic piece that doesn't flush is just a bulky, useless vase. The product is beautiful, solid, but now it must prove it works. Here is the moment everyone is waiting for, the trap weight test. This is where visual satisfaction is total. We connect the bowl and trigger the flush. What you see is not just swirling water, it's a vortex calculated by computer to generate maximum suction in less than 3 seconds. To prove the physics work, we throw in ping pong balls or test cylinders. Watch closely. Everything disappears instantly. It is this mastery of fluid dynamics that separates a cheap toilet that clogs from a product capable of handling any sanitary situation. It is this hydraulic engineering, more than any medicine, that has saved millions of lives by stopping epidemics. Once validated, only the engine is missing. Robotic arms come to insert the flush valve and fill valve into the tank. It's the final assembly. The ceramic body finally receives its mechanical heart. A final click of the chrome push button, and the machine is complete. The journey is coming to an end. All that remains is to protect this engineering miracle for its final trip. On this packaging line, it's a ballet of Titan robots. They lift these 110-pound masses as if they were styrofoam, placing them delicately into their cardboard cradle. Look at this logistical cathedral. Thousands of toilets are stacking up here, ready to be shipped to the 4 corners of the world. Take a break and realize how far we've come. This morning, this was just a pile of dirty rocks and dust in a quarry. After surviving crushing pressure, cutting-edge chemistry, and volcanic fire, it has become the most durable and hygienic object in your home, ready to serve for 50 years without failing. So, let's settle the debate. Tell me in the comments, are you fascinated by the hidden complexity of this everyday object, type 1, or do you think we are overthinking a simple toilet, type 2? Subscribe now, because if you liked this factory, you are not ready for the video appearing on your left. Click on it and join me for this new adventure.